Iran shut down 20% of the world's oil supply this week, and they may not have used a single physical mine to do it. 0 mines confirmed. Full blockade effect achieved. Your gas bill is going up because of a press statement and a map Iran had no right to draw. This is the most important detail in the entire Hormuz crisis, and almost every mainstream outlet covering this story is missing it completely. Stick with me. Because once you understand how Iran pulled this off without physical mines, you will never read an energy headline the same way again. The Joint Maritime Information Center, multiple navies monitoring the strait around the clock, has not confirmed a single mine placed in the water. The United States has had sail drones, motorized drones, and aerial surveillance covering the Strait of Hormuz continuously throughout this entire crisis. With that level of coverage, if Iran had physically placed mines in the water, we would almost certainly know about it by now, and we do not. The data shows 6 ships per day in March versus the normal 129 and 95% collapse with 0 confirmed physical mines causing it. Iran created the operational effect of a minefield ship stopped. Insurance tripled. Routing changed permanently using only a press statement and a map. That is the most cost-effective strategic operation in naval warfare history, and it is costing American consumers real money right now, today. Gas is at $3.99 nationally, up 82 cents from last year. California is at $7.22, and the real economic shock has not fully landed yet. At the 300 mark, I will show you the 5-move operation Iran ran this week and exactly which move will cost you the most money long term. But first, how information warfare works in a maritime domain, because this is the lesson every American needs to understand right now. When Iran announced mines, they did not just announce, they simultaneously published a safe alternative route through Iranian waters. The problem and the solution arrived in the same briefing, which is not how you announce a defensive emergency. That is how you launch a pre-built plan. The alternative route runs through Iranian territorial waters, where Iran has full legal jurisdiction over every vessel that uses it going forward. Ships do not need to know whether the mines are real. The risk is severe enough that every rational captain takes the Iranian-provided safe route. Insurance companies do not need confirmed mines. Either the announcement alone triggered triple-rate war risk premiums across the entire Persian Gulf. Shipping companies do not need physical evidence. They need a mine clearance certificate. And only Iran can authorize that certificate under the new scheme. Iran now controls who gets clearance, which route is authorized, and which ships are allowed to transit, all from 0 confirmed mines in the water. 0 shots fired, 0 mines confirmed. Full chokepoint control achieved through a press statement and a map that is information warfare at its most effective. This is the maritime domain version of information warfare, more effective and significantly cheaper than physically mining a 21-mile-wide waterway. Now let me show you what else Iran built on top of the 0 mines minefield, because the mine story is only one of 5 strategic moves this week. Context before the 5 moves. March 2026, average Hormuz transits fell from 129 ships per day down to just 6, a 95% monthly collapse. Picture that 95% of the trucks on every American highway disappearing for 30 straight days while the government said everything was fine. Diesel is at $5.40 nationally. Diesel moves every truck, every delivery, every piece of food from farm to your grocery store heading higher. Here at the 300 mark, the 5 moves Iran executed in 7 days, and the one that hits your wallet hardest and for the longest time. Move 1. VHF Channel 16. Broadcast the International Maritime 911 monitored continuously by every vessel on Earth without exception. Iran broadcasts transit without permission, and your vessel will be destroyed, heard simultaneously by every captain within radio range. No UN note, no IMO process, no diplomatic back-channel live broadcast on the Global Emergency Channel demanding immediate operational compliance. A captain on Channel 16 does not call a lawyer 60 seconds. Rational answer is always stop, drop anchor, wait for clarification that may never come. Move 2. The mine announcement, 0 confirmed mines. Full minefield behavioral effect. permanent routing change at essentially zero physical cost. Move 3. The new official traffic map Iran published a traffic separation scheme for Hormuz without IMO authorization or any international approval. First time in modern maritime history a nation has done this. IMO confirmed it violates international maritime law from a desk with no enforcement navy. Old lanes ran through Omani waters where Iran had no authority. New lanes route through Iranian territorial waters permanently. Every ship, every transit. EOS Risk Group confirmed it in Lloyd's List, a fundamental and permanent reshaping of how Hormuz transits work. Going forward, not temporary. Permanent. Move 4. The most diplomatically explosive detail, Iran's declared hazard zone, extends into Omani sovereign territorial waters. Oman has been the quiet diplomatic go-between for Iran and the United States in ceasefire negotiations, and Iran just declared mines in their front yard. Either a massive miscalculation or a deliberate power signal to the mediator, either interpretation is alarming for what it reveals about Iran's intentions. Move 5, the one that hits your wallet for years, regardless of how this ends politically, the 17-year global tanker order boom triggered by the crisis. BIMCO reports the highest crude tanker contracting quarter in recorded history happening right now during the blockade because freight rates make it work. Those tankers will not be delivered for 3 to 5 years. The supply shortage is already baked into global freight costs through 2029 and 2030. Shipyards winning this boom are in South Korea, China, and Japan, not American workers or companies sharing the economic burden with American consumers. Now let me connect all 5 moves to your actual gas pump number straight line. No political framing, just the real cause and effect chain. UNCTAD. April 1st report. Global trade growth slows from 4.7% to 1.5 to 2.5%, a COVID-level contraction in global trade activity. Bunker fuel has doubled and tripled since the crisis started raising the cost of everything it carries to every American store shelf everywhere. UNCTAD explicitly says potential financial crisis on the scale of 2008, an international economic body, not a pundit or a partisan commentator. Stuck behind that blockade, LNG, LPG, helium for hospital MRI machines, fertilizer for American farms, car carriers, electronics, manufactured goods. The fertilizer shortage means higher food prices at American grocery stores this fall. That chain of cause and effect is already locked in completely. Now the human cost 20,000 merchant sailors on 1,000 ships in the Gulf. And nobody in Washington seems to be publicly counting them. A mariner who got off one of the American ships reported almost no communication with the U.S. military throughout the entire ordeal from start to finish. No secure channels, no guidance, no direction merchant ships left to work out their own defense posture with no military backup whatsoever. U.S. Merchant Marine Academy cadet students, not soldiers, were aboard those ships and left there without military communication support. The Merchant Marine Academy has a battle standard 142 cadets killed in World War II, and in 2026 they sat in a blockaded Gulf without backup. Thomas Jefferson faced the same question in 1801: pay tribute to a chokepoint controller or send the Navy to end the system permanently. He concluded paying was more expensive than ending it. Tribute demands always escalate. Historical record confirms this without a single exception. He sent the Navy and established the principle that ran American foreign policy for 2 centuries, not 1 cent for tribute to anyone, ever. Iran's Bitcoin toll today is the exact same economic structure as Barbary tribute in 1801, different technology. Identical incentive and escalation mechanism. $1 per barrel at full Hormuz volume equals $6 billion per year in untraceable cryptocurrency, and tribute always escalates at renewal time. What does the U.S. military actually have in the Strait? And why does the gap between watching and acting matter for your energy costs going forward? The Navy has ISR drones intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. They see everything and are not positioned to enforce anything about what they see. The plan to open Hormuz reportedly exists in military planning documents and has been reviewed, but it was not the operational priority for this conflict. IMO says Iran is violating international law, correct, but they do not have a navy. and international law does not enforce itself without one. Iran is not fighting the law, living in the gap between what law requires and what any nation with a navy will actually do about it. And 3 tankers are now testing whether that gap can be exploited commercially using Omani waters to bypass the toll booth entirely. The Dalut, the Zahor, LNG, and the Habit ran south of the Raycon buoy through Omani waters on April 2nd, a route nobody had tried before. If they clear Omani waters without being attacked, 1,000 trapped ships have a viable bypass route that sidesteps Iranian jurisdiction completely. If Iran attacks them in Omani sovereign waters, the crisis escalates and pulls in direct international military responses from multiple parties immediately. Either answer reveals Iran's actual red line, the most important unknown piece of strategic information in this entire conflict right now. Recovery math, straight numbers. No spin. Evergreen Block Suez, 6 days in 2021. 6 days caused 6 weeks of downstream supply disruption. Hormuz at 95%, below normal for over 30 days. That ratio gives roughly 30 weeks of recovery time from any peace declaration going forward. Mid-2027 at earliest before prices normalize. Even peace tomorrow does not change that timeline. The disruption scale has already locked it in. Administration has moved SPR releases, Jones Act waivers, sanctions adjustments, real efforts buying time against a structural problem of this scale. 10 to 12 million barrels per day removed from global supply raises every barrel's price everywhere, including your barrel of Texas crude. 3 signals to watch truth is in data, not announcements, and data does not have a press secretary or a political agenda attached to it. Signal 1. Marine traffic daily transit count 138 per day is open. Under 20 means the chokehold is still operational regardless of what was announced. Signal 2. Lloyd's War risk insurance premium when it normalizes. The risk community confirms it is genuinely safe, not just officially declared safe. Signal 3, the specific treaty language watch for in coordination with Iranian authorities, safety routing, and a named mine clearance operator, if those phrases appear. Iran's new system has been diplomatically legitimized. The zero mines minefield just became a permanent institutional reality. 50 ships per day within a week of any deal means substance. 10 ships per day 2 weeks later means paper, regardless of headline framing. 3 outcomes: full elimination, partial acceptance of Iranian coordination role, or sustained naval escorts like Operation Earnest Will in 1987. Partial acceptance is most likely diplomatically, and it turns the zero mines minefield into a permanent toll booth recognized by international agreement. Any Iranian coordination language today closes off every military response option tomorrow. That is the trap embedded in these current negotiations. Bottom line stated without political framing, because you deserve honest numbers and not spin from either direction on this story. Iran shut down 20% of global oil supply using words, a radio broadcast, and a map same effect as if every mine in the announcement were real. Ships stopped. Prices went up. Routes changed. Jurisdiction shifted, all from 0 confirmed physical mines in the water as of right now. That is the lesson beyond Hormuz. Information warfare in maritime domain is as effective as kinetic warfare and costs a fraction of the price. Your gas bill reflects the operational reality Iran's announcement created, not the military reality, which may involve 0 mines whatsoever. The ceasefire agreement either eliminates that operational reality by verifying clearance and restoring the Omani route, or it accepts it as permanent. Watch the treaty text. Watch the marine traffic count. Watch the insurance rates. Those 3 tell the truth before any government admits it. Share this. If you think Americans deserve to know the minefield shutting down global energy might not contain a single physical mine. Subscribe and hit the bell. The next video shows the satellite data on the 3 tankers that tried to bypass the zero mines minefield. Did Iran let them through? Did they stop them? Did U.S. military provide shore-based cover from Oman? The satellite data answers all 3 questions. That answer determines whether 1,000 trapped ships have a path home and whether your energy prices have a genuine path down from here. Watch the ships, not the statements, and you will know what is actually happening well before anyone in Washington admits it publicly. Now, let me give you something specific to do with everything you just learned, because information without action is just anxiety. Go to marinetraffic.com right now. It is free, and search Strait of Hormuz. Look at the daily vessel count and compare it to 138 ships normal. That number, whatever it is today, tells you more about the real state of this crisis than any press conference from any government anywhere. When that number climbs back toward 100 ships per day and stays there consistently, the disruption is genuinely resolving and prices will follow. When it stays under 20 despite any official announcement, the chokehold is still operational and your energy costs will stay elevated accordingly. The shipping industry also needs 4 specific conditions before any risk department will authorize a loaded tanker back through voluntarily. Condition 1, verified mine clearance with certified all-clear documentation, not a press statement. Actual mine-sweeping operations with paperwork. Condition 2, demonstrated transits of the traditional Omani waters route, not the new Iranian route with vessels arriving safely at destinations. Condition 3, war risk insurance rates returning toward normal, which only happens after mine clearance is verified and consistently maintained. Condition 4, explicit elimination of the Bitcoin toll, not vaguely addressed, not rebranded under a different name, completely gone from the operational picture. Individual captains and insurance underwriters make these calls, not governments using verifiable risk data, not political announcements or optimism. The insurance market is the most honest signal in this entire crisis. It prices actual mathematical probability of loss, not diplomatic confidence. When war risk premiums normalize, that single data point tells you more about the real situation than any government statement from any party. Now, here is the economic reality that connects the Zero Mines minefield directly to every American household budget through 2027. The disruption from Iran's information warfare operation this week does not care about your political affiliation. It hits every American at checkout. Higher freight costs mean higher grocery prices, higher fuel prices, higher prices for electronics and appliances and everything that crosses an ocean. And those higher costs persist into 2027 because the supply chain disruption is already embedded. Peace tomorrow does not undo 30 days of damage instantly. What shortens the recovery timeline beyond the minimum 30 weeks is whether the agreement actually eliminates what Iran built or quietly accepts it. If the agreement accepts Iran's routing authority, the Zero Mines minefield becomes a permanent toll booth embedded in international diplomatic practice. That toll gets embedded in global oil prices and eventually in your gas bill every fill-up for years, compounding if historical tribute patterns hold. Jefferson saw this clearly in 1801. The tribute does not stay at the initial rate. It escalates at every renegotiation without exception in the historical record. $1 per barrel today, $2 at the next renewal, then more $6 billion per year currently, potentially $12 billion within 5 to 7 years. $6 billion per year in untraceable Bitcoin funding, the exact military and proxy capabilities that make Iran a strategic threat in the first place. Paying tribute funds the system that collects the tribute, that is the self-reinforcing economic cycle Jefferson understood and refused to participate in. The United States today has far more naval capability relative to Iran than Jefferson had relative to the Barbary states. The military math still works. What is being decided right now is not a capability question. It is a political will question, and the treaty text will reveal which way it went. Here is the plain summary every American watching this deserves without spin, without politics, just the honest connection drawn clearly. A foreign government may have shut down 20% of global oil supply using nothing but words, and the effect on your wallet is exactly the same as if they had used mines. The ceasefire either addresses that reality by verifying clearance and restoring traditional routing, or it leaves Iran's new system in place permanently. Your gas bill in 2027 and 2028 will tell you which outcome actually happened long after the press conferences have moved on to other stories. Watch the 3 signals, not the 3 headlines: marine traffic, Lloyd's rates, and the exact words in the treaty text when it is published. Share this if you think your friends and family deserve the same honest explanation without the political framing that usually surrounds this story. Subscribe and hit the bell. The satellite data on those 3 breakout tankers is coming. And it answers the question this entire video opened with. Did they make it? Did Iran let them through the Omani bypass? Did U.S. military provide any cover from shore bases in Oman? The answer to those 3 questions determines whether 1,000 ships have a path home and whether the zero mines minefield has a real practical flaw Iran cannot fix. The ships are the honest signal, and right now, 3 of them are writing the next chapter of this story in the waters south of Larak Island.